You are listening to the Critical Mass Radio Show, Orange County's business talk show, focused on exploring topics of interest to CEOs who are leading middle market companies. With your host, Richard Franzi.
Welcome to Critical Mass Business Talk Show. I am your host, Rick Franzi, and I am excited to introduce our guest for today, Anthony Domenici. He is the co-founder and CFO of the company BASECAMP Consulting. Anthony, welcome to the program.
Hey, Rick, thanks for having me.
So as I said in the top there, you are the co-founder of BASECAMP Consulting Group. Talk to our audience about what was your original motivation, you and your partner, to start this business?
Yeah, I think we had always wanted to do something for ourselves. And for me, I think consulting, and I'd done a little bit here and there, and it seemed like a sort of quick way to start my own business with very little upfront investment, financial investment, I guess. And, I have a certain skill set and capabilities that are very transferable across businesses. So I think it was something I had thought about, and it really wasn't something that I was prepared to do mentally kind of throughout my career. I had to get to a certain point, I think, and maybe the universe had to give me a little bit of push as well. And those things kind of aligned, and the opportunity kind of revealed itself, and we just went for it, really.
So let's peel that back a little bit. How long were you two talking about it before you pulled the trigger and did it?
Well, Ken, my business partner, Ken Young, he's the type of guy that will go to bed with an idea and wake up with a business plan. So he actually had a logo and things already kind of built out in his mind. And we had talked about doing it randomly. We had known each other since 2017. We worked together in previous lives, and we worked really well together. We kind of similar way of thinking about things, and we seriously were talking about it probably for a few months before we actually pulled the trigger. We kind of jumped into the cannabis industry together, which was sort of a big mental hurdle for me to go from a large company to a small company. So kind of that transition, really, startup, new industry. There's a lot of things that were, kind of broadened my horizons through that experience. So having gone through that and, getting a little bit more comfortable with taking risks and, pushing myself, being uncomfortable, those are kind of a few things that kind of led to that. And then, the pandemic really was sort of the catalyst, I guess, for us kind of pulling the trigger on it. The opportunities to help companies in sort of turmoil and unknown, and cash flow being a very important issue. It's always an important issue, but during that time, that was probably the biggest issue that rose to the top.
Yes.
And through my cannabis experience, I really kind of strengthened those skills. And Ken and I have complementary sort of S&OP through sales and ops planning down all the way to cash flow, and they connect. So we kind of just started seeing those opportunities happening, and I basically called him up and said, "I'm going to do this. Should we do it?" And he was like, "Yes." So we just pulled the trigger.
That's awesome. What is it that BASECAMP Consulting Group does?
Yeah, we're a management consulting group. We focus on CPG companies. We have a strong passion for CPG. We have, Ken's entire career spent in, beverage, alcohol, wines, and spirits. I kind of had a little bit of a more, winding path, but we have a passion for those type of businesses, and a history of success. And I really enjoy working with sort of strong culture and branded companies. So we started a little broad, probably, trying to kind of fill the bucket and get ourselves work, but we're really sort of focusing on this finance and sales and ops planning slice right now. We sort of have refined it a little bit over time, and we're trying to add value to these hyper growth and transitional companies. It's sort of the sweet spot is sort of something that has a proof of concept and business and activity and revenue, but to get to the next level, you need a little more sophistication in, supply and demand planning and connecting that to your cash flow. And, that could also just be monthly management routine and KPIs and what do you track on a daily basis to get your business to the next level. So there's kind of different few areas there, but.
Sure. So I'm wondering, in the year plus since you and Ken started your business, what have you learned? And have you had any major or minor pivots in the business? I heard you say we might have started a little too broad. So I'm just wondering if you could share your experience as an early stage entrepreneur with our audience.
Yeah, I think there's a few things for sure. I mean, having a partner, I think, is really valuable. When the first few days or first couple months where, I was sort of thinking about doing this on my own and trying to get some things going on my own, it was a lot more difficult to kind of navigate. And that kind of goes into the next thing, I think, which is like getting too high or too low on things that happen. So I was so invested in every little thing that happened initially that I was like on this emotional roller coaster where, I had a deal and I didn't have a deal. I sent out a contract. It never got signed. And, I would have a meeting that I would think would be nothing. And it was an amazing meeting. And so it was like, everything was so dramatic, I felt like at the beginning, but so trying to kind of like keep an even keel, and just keep going. And I think the other thing that Ken and I really focus on is kind of leading with the core values. Like we try, first and foremost to just be good people and do the right thing. And so when we have that situation where you're a little unsure of what to do, we just kind of go back to that. And I think that's really kind of been a good thing for us. We try to, we're not perfect. Everything doesn't always go the way you want. And so as long as we're trying to make it right, we feel good about it. And then I think the other thing is, I'm from Southern California. I was a big Kobe fan, and there was this thing that he always talked about, which is like enjoying the work. And I try to think about that a lot because our business, we have goals, but it's sort of, there's never like an ending point per se. So I think about enjoying the opportunity that I have for myself right now. I mean, we keep going every day and keep grinding, but enjoying the work that I'm doing, working for different companies, seeing different business models. It's super interesting, building my own company, working with people that I want to work with. All those things were my dream a year ago. So I've, sort of achieved some version of the dream, but it's still going, right? So we'll keep pushing, keep challenging ourselves. And, I think just kind of enjoying that daily grind a little bit.
And that can be tough at sometimes in an early stage company and following that emotional roller coaster that you talked about. I'd like to pick out maybe just a little follow-up question on, you talked about having core values and how you and your partner can kind of lean on those. So I'm wondering, did you both come in with the values already, or did you have a process? How did you agree upon what the core values for your company would be?
I think we kind of naturally had a similar idea. We tend to have like call it 60 days, like a recap strategy session where we're like, so what's happened in the last 60 days and what should we be doing and what did we learn and should we pivot a little bit here and there? And, kind of going back to your other follow-up about the pivots, I think, when we started with just the two of us, we had to get work. So we kind of started really broad and we're a little bit more free form about what we were doing. So being a little bit more specific and targeted and, having infrastructure built around the projects that we're doing so we can repeat them and then we're, better and better every time, where initially we're kind of building them as we went. Yes, I've done this before, but I didn't do it in this way, So I think, we'd had part of our thing is, trying to be good people, being a little savage too. I mean, we had to go out and, continue to push and, get uncomfortable and, go 100% into things. So I think that was, some of the things that we follow, it just kind of came out naturally. I think we have complementary skills and complementary way of thinking of things, and just kind of came out.
So I think I understand that this is your first pure entrepreneurial venture as a founder or co-founder, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it also his first time as an entrepreneur, starter, founder, early stage company?
He's worked on a couple other projects before, but I think this is kind of like the first time where we're both 100% full time in
Right.
what we're doing, and
Right.
Yeah, for me that was a really hard thing to mentally wrap my mind around. I mean, I would have never say I'm gonna, I have a wife and a kids and a mortgage, and I'm like, I'm not gonna quit my job and go to zero and then be like, I'm gonna start a company, So, yeah, I think it just sort of worked out in a way that was positive for both of us, and we were able to hit the ground running like immediately. So it kind of worked out.
It did. That's fantastic because I can hear in your voice and in the words you're saying, I think a similar journey, emotional journey and logical journey that every entrepreneur who left a job with a paycheck has to reconcile the fact that if you're going to have a paycheck, you have to create a business that can afford to pay you. And that is a reality. And as the CFO, you're very aware of the financial ramifications of having to pay two founders and all the rest of the things that come along with the business. So this is, I'm so glad we're talking with you. You'll be back in a couple of years when you're talking to me about the challenges of scaling the business to the next level. Right now,
that's what I'm working on right now.
All right, so we'll get you back, Anthony, to talk about that. In our earlier conversations, you mentioned something in one of our sessions that I was intrigued by. You mentioned to me that you've identified and believe that today's employees have a preference to work for smaller companies because it allows them the opportunity maybe to leverage their skills more fully and to make an impact on the business. And you inspired me so much with that we sent a poll out on my LinkedIn, which is available if you're listening live. If you want to take it, it's in my LinkedIn profile there. You can find it. Asking people what do they think? And so I'll just kind of go through it. We asked them that question: where do they think employees would prefer because their skills can be more fully utilized and they can make an impact on the business? We gave them 4 choices: everything from startup to a small company, which was a company with less than 100 employees, to a middle market company, which was a company with greater than 100 but less than like 10,000, and then large companies greater than 10,000. So I'll go top down. So far, no one has said employees prefer to work at large companies because they can leverage their skills and impact the company. 24% have said they believe the middle market companies, the mid-sized companies have that opportunity. 53% said small companies, less than 100, and 24% said startups. So it's really skewed to the smaller companies and the off the large companies. So that falls in line with your observation that you shared with me previously. So maybe you can just expand a little bit on that observation.
Yeah, I mean, I think for myself, I had worked for 3 billion plus dollar revenue companies before going into this, small company / startup kind of environment. And I think when you work for a large company like that, a vast majority of the people have a very specific task or thing that they're an expert in, that, and they may want exposure to other things, but it's a little bit more difficult. You have this thing you have to repeat over and over and over again. And there's reporting and whatever, that people rely on all these different things. So it's a little bit more difficult. And also to kind of get the ear of your management team or whatever it is, not to say it's impossible. It is possible, but, every employee can't have that type of relationship and exposure. Where if you're in a smaller environment, which I think my comment was, we had kind of had the luxury of a small company to be working very closely with every employee that we have. So when someone, makes a comment that they want to work on something or do something new, or, they have skills that they feel like they haven't been able to fully utilize, we can react very quickly to that. And we can even go out and, find a project for them, which I think is sort of unique to our business model, maybe not, the industry that we're in, but yeah, I mean, I've seen it firsthand and talked to the people that we're working with that, they've done a certain thing, but they wanted exposure to this other side of the business or whatever it is. And, we've been able to make that happen. And we feel like that's the type of culture that we want to build, is to be able to support the employees and, listen and react. And those are the things that when I was, progressing through my career, I really valued. So I think trying to take those nuggets from the big company experience and bring all of the best parts of that to this, small company.
I see that we have a comment as well. So let me read what was written. It says, employees always work better when they actually feel like part of the success, which you can feel in smaller companies. However, it starts with great leadership. So if you want to react to what I just read to you, that'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the continuation of that. So if you're able to help employees feel good about what they're doing, and then that you can see the outcome, especially if you're working for our business with a client where I want to work on something new, I go and do it for a client, they're super happy, there's like a direct path to success, and they can really see the fruits of their labor like real time. So I think that's right. I mean, feeling like you're part of the team really starts being part of a good culture. I think if you're working for a company and you feel like they don't care about you, I mean, why would you want to do good work, and why would you want to continue to work there? So building that, I think with action, I guess. So if you tell somebody, hey, like, I care about you or whatever, this is a family, but if you're not listening to what they're saying and helping them progress and providing that sort of environment, it doesn't mean as much. So I guess it's sort of matching up the actions with those words.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. The comment about it really starts with great leadership is sort of the overarching requirement, regardless of the size of the organization, for the employees to feel engaged. It really starts with the leadership. So good conversation. Thank you for the comment. Always welcome comments here. If you're listening to us live today, feel free to post them and we'll bring them into the conversation I'm having with Anthony Domenici. We're talking about a lot of things, early stage companies. We're talking about working experience. Let's look at your experience, and how do you get outside feedback that helps you to make the decisions that you and your partner need to make to grow your firm?
Yeah, I mean, I think we try to get out and talk to people, really. I mean, the way we really have grown our business is kind of through our network and connecting with people that we worked with in the past. I mean, I got a lot of great advice from people that I worked with and, people that I've worked for as we were going along. And, being out in the community and, attending events and just kind of listening to people, what they're saying. I mean, that's kind of really where this has all come from, and where we've been able to build our client base is through sort of organically reaching out and talking to people and let them know what we're doing. And, I feel like we have a good track record with, our network and our community. And when people come across opportunities or ideas or whatever, we sit down and we talk about it. I mean, almost all of our business has come through, referrals or people that we know, kind of through that channel. So I think for me, it's always been about just being who I am, being out in the community, letting people know what I'm doing, and also making sure you are getting feedback. So if we talk to a client and they weren't happy about something specific, we can then go back and say, look, what happened and how can we be better? And I didn't grow up as a consultant. We're operators at heart. We've kind of been in the trenches and doing all the things that we've done. I've done accounting and treasury and FP&A and finance, and I've kind of done a lot of different things, and I can really relate to the situation that people are in. So I think, that feels like a little bit of a differentiator for me and us, where I can really kind of be a good business partner to somebody, because I have been there. operating from a cloud somewhere that, you know, not to put down anybody else or anything, but I think that for me, that's what I rely on, I guess.
I think real world experience leads to empathy, which leads to better advice and consultation. So I completely agree with you. Let's turn our focus to the future. Anthony, describe for me and us your vision for where are you and your partner taking your firm.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, we have clients on the East Coast and even Canada, but I think we'd really like to be known in our own backyard as, you know, valuable resources in Orange County and LA. There's a lot of companies around here that, you know, are in the space that we're in, and, you know, when they need a project or help, I would love for them to be able to our name just come to their mind. That would be amazing to me. I think we like to have a small team or a small to medium sized team. We don't want to, like, you know, we want to keep the small company kind of like culture and, you know, like we talked about, being able to feel really connected with everybody that's working with us and our clients. So I think we want to, you know, keep going, keep progressing, you know, get a little bit better at what we're doing, continue to build our community and our client base, you know, really help companies get to the next level. That's the part that we really enjoy, kind of that sweet spot of we've proved something, but now we need to get to the next level, and being a part of that is really fun and interesting. I get a lot of joy out of working with companies that you can, you know, add that type of value. So I would feel really good, you know, if in a few years from now, or like however long, you know, we were in that place, and, you know, building that kind of reputation for ourselves.
Okay, so if someone would like to learn more about you, maybe your LinkedIn contact information or BASECAMP Consulting Group,
Yes.
where do you suggest they go?
Yeah, BaseCampConsultingGroup.com. There's a contact page that we can take inputs from, and then yeah, I mean, I've taken introductions on LinkedIn. I think, you know, I tend to respond more to the ones that are specific rather than a blanket, you know, blasted email. But, you know, I have taken meetings with people that have reached out to me, like a cold call. But, you know, yeah, we do have kind of an inbox contact page on our website that we talk to people through, and then, yeah, our LinkedIn on we have a company profile on LinkedIn as well.
Okay. And it's been a joy to talk to you. I love the opportunity to feel the early stage energy that the entrepreneurs have who are starting a business. And I thank you for your candor and willingness to kind of share your experience with our audience today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been super fun. I think, you know, I've never been on something like this, so it's just keeps going with the, like, you know, keep getting a little uncomfortable. There you go. So it's happening in real time.
that is, I look for these transferable, teachable moments, and that one is probably one that we should reinforce, which is how important it is as an entrepreneur. And it's not just early stage, but to be willing to be uncomfortable, because there is the opportunity maybe for growth and development, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's the path that I've been on, and that's, you know, whatever the decisions I made in the past, right or wrong, that's where I am today. And then you just got to keep going, keep trusting yourself, trust your gut.
One foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the other. Just keep moving. Well, thank you again, Anthony. I've had a real enjoyable time with you this morning.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I'd like to thank Gottlieb Rackman Reisman for proudly supporting this edition of Critical Mass Business Talk Show. GRRPC provides legal advice and guidance on all aspects of intellectual property law, including patents, trademarks, and copyrights. If you'd like to learn more about them, visit their website, grr.com. I'd also like to thank the audience and Anthony for being a part of Orange County's longest running business talk show. Today's episode was number 1313. If we're not connected on LinkedIn, reach out to me. I'm Rick, R-I-C, Franzi, or visit my new website, which is just launching, which is simply rickfranzi.com. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing you again on our next episode.